Well, U.S. President Donald Trump has just passed another milestone, 500 days in office. And just like perhaps any other day, he's the focus of some debate and controversy. The talk in Washington today is about his power, specifically the power to pardon himself if he is implicated in the Russia collusion investigation. Our Lindsay Duncombe is watching this story from our Washington bureau. And Lindsay, this issue was first raised over the weekend as a result of that New York Times article. And now Trump has commented on Twitter today. What are we hearing from him?
Well, Donald Trump is agreeing with what his lawyer said in the 20-page letter that was published over the weekend in the Times, saying that he does have the right to pardon himself should there be any charges that come out of the Russia investigation. Here's what he said on Twitter. As has been stated by numerous legal scholars, I have the absolute right to pardon myself, but why would I do that when I have done nothing wrong? He goes on to again call the investigation, or the special counsel investigation, a witch hunt, and later tweet that the whole thing is unconstitutional, something that is not a fact. The reason why this debate is happening is because in that long list of reasons that the lawyers gave that Donald Trump should not sit down and give an interview to Mueller, they said that he has the power to pardon himself, even pardon himself or close the investigation. And whether or not that is true, it certainly is the subject of legal debate, and it was the subject of people who were defending him. Here is what Rudy Giuliani had to say over the weekend.
He's not, but he probably does. I mean, he has no intention of pardoning himself, but he probably does. It doesn't say he can't. I mean, that's another really interesting constitutional argument. Can the president pardon himself?
You think it's an open question?
I used to run the pardon attorney. It would be an open question. I think the political ramifications of that would be tough. Pardoning other people is one thing. Pardoning yourself is another.
So when Rudy Giuliani mentioned the political ramifications, what he's clearly talking about there is impeachment. And that's been raised by a number of others, that if the president should pardon himself, the immediate political reaction would be for Congress to move to impeach him. Now, you say that, but at the same time, Republicans have not spoken out against Donald Trump's continued attacks on the Mueller investigation. So the political ramifications, while that seems to be logical, are not entirely clear if we ever got to that point.
And, you know, the Mueller investigation, certainly we've been seeing so many developments with this story, at least within the past several months. What should we be watching for next?
Well, I think the immediate thing to watch for in light of these latest tweets from Donald Trump is, what do congressional Republicans do? Is this something that is going to push any of them to come out and speak against the president? As I mentioned before, they haven't done that yet. Longer term, what we're seeing here is really a back and forth that boils down to, should Donald Trump sit down and have an interview with Robert Mueller, or is Robert Mueller going to have to take the president to court in order to make that happen? And that's interesting because that legal fight, if it goes down that road, could continue for months, if not longer. And what the president indicated in his tweets today is that could take this whole debate and Trump's continued response to the investigation into the midterm elections in the fall.
And we know you'll be watching it all. Thanks for this, Lindsay. That is the CBC's Lindsay Duncombe in Washington.